We were discussing about the linear momentum balance and its application using the concept of an accelerating control volume. So we will consider a further problem in that connection. Sorry. So the problem is a well-known problem in mechanics that we talk about, that is the motion of a rocket. The motion of a rocket is such a problem which is being discussed from the most junior high school level to the highest level of the study of science and engineering. The way in which this particular aspect is dealt with is of course dependent on the particular level in which we are explaining the phenomenon. In a very junior high school class, if it is asked that how does a rocket move, the standard answer what is expected is by the Newton's third law, and a bit more elaboration in a little bit higher class is that the rocket has some fuel inside. So there is combustion of the fuel and the products of combustion come out. So I show a particular arrow which directs where it is coming out. And this is the gravity. So the products of combustion come out, and when they come out, they apply an equal and opposite thrust on the rocket, and that makes it move upwards, say with a velocity Vr. Now, in this level, what we will do is we will put some quantification supporting that physical explanation by using the control volume momentum balance. To do that, let us assume that the fuel, the combustion is giving rise to products which comes out with a mass flow rate of m dot E and a relative velocity of Ve, which are constants over the period of time over which the motion is studied. So these are constants which are given. The objective is to find out the velocity of the rocket as a function of time. To do that, again we have to fix a control volume. So let us say that we have fixed this control volume, which is fixed to the rocket itself, and because it's primarily a motion along one direction, let us call it x. So we have to write the Newton's second law of motion, or in this case, because we are using the Eulerian control volume, so the corresponding Reynolds transport theorem expressed in terms of the variables as seen relative to the control volume. And this control volume is clearly accelerating, and therefore you will have the conservation of linear momentum if you recall, resultant force, I'm writing a scalar form because we are bothering about x direction. So the Reynolds transport theorem that we write is very much similar to one of the problems that we studied in the previous class. That is, you have a tank filled with water, and water is being sort of forced out of the tank by virtue of a hole, and that movement of water or the motion of the water is creating a thrust on the tank, and the tank is moving. This is very similar in concept, although the technology is significantly more advanced. So the same expression that we have written here. Now, what is the force on the rocket? So that is the mass of the rocket, which is again a function of time. Why mass of the rocket is a function of time? The fuel is there inside the rocket. It gets burned and progressively it comes out. So the mass is decreasing with time. So we have to remember this instantaneous mass into g minus there is another force which is along the negative x direction. This is called as a drag force. So drag force is what? This is basically the air friction or the atmospheric friction, which is putting up a resistance against the rocket's upward motion. The acceleration relative is what? This is the acceleration of the control volume plus all those angular acceleration terms. So we have to keep in mind that there is also a linear acceleration of the fluid relative to the control volume. So if you see those additional terms in the this correction of the Reynolds transport theorem, you will see this one. I'm just writing it separately so that you will realize that those terms are not important here. So one was this R double dot. This is important. This is acceleration of the control volume plus R double dot with respect to small xyz. These are the linear terms, and the angular terms omega cross R plus omega dot cross R plus 2 omega cross the relative velocity. So out of that, clearly you can see that there are three terms which are due to rotation, and the rocket is not rotating. So this is that that rotation effect that is not there. This is the acceleration of the control volume, and that is basically the rate of change of velocity of the rocket with respect to time. The key question is, what is this asterisk mark term, and should it be here or not here? So this is nothing but the velocity of the fluid relative to the reference frame attached to the rocket. And remember that this is the volume integral we are talking about inside the control volume. So all the velocity which is generated of the fluid relative to the rocket is primarily due to this narrow passage, the nozzle by which the products of combustion are coming out. Inside the control volume, there is some relative velocity, not that it is zero, because otherwise it is not possible to just at once come out. But that is much negligible as compared to the effect of this boundary term, and that makes this negligible. So this we do not consider, with an understanding that the velocity of the fuel, you can say, or products of combustion relative to the rocket within the rocket is small, and wherever that relative velocity is generated, that corresponding mass is also very small. So you can imagine that this product is not there. So out of these overall integral, you will have only one term, which is this, nothing but R, capital R double dot, capital R not double dot. That is this one, dVr dt. So it is m dVr dt. We have to keep in mind this m is a function of time. So with a similar spirit, what we have here is this, in the unsteady term, you have the relative velocity v small xyz, and the relative velocity itself is small within the control volume, which is the rocket. Remember, this is the term within the control volume. So that means this is also not important. And the last term is of course important. So what is that last term? The last term is so rho, that you multiply with VR. VR is minus VE, this one. So why minus? Anything along positive x we are calling as plus, anything along negative x we are calling as minus. VR is velocity of the fluid relative to the control volume. So products of combustion are coming out with respect to the rocket with a velocity, relative velocity VE. And the remaining thing, that is integral of rho VR dot this thing. This is basically the mass flux. So you can easily say, let us take that rho thing and we club this all with a single parameter, the mass flow rate, m dot E. Remember, this is positive because it is outflow. So this is the differential equation that talks about the motion of the rocket. Now, out of these, if you neglect the effect of the drag, so this you may neglect as possibly compared to mg. Always it is not the case, but if you can do that, the equation gets a bit more simplified. So I leave it on you as a homework to put up a discussion that what are the conditions under which you can neglect the atmospheric drag. A simple clue is that the rocket is having its primary motion outside the atmosphere surrounding the Earth, where you do not have much of the atmospheric air. But in the same logic, you can also say that their gravity also may not be that important. So, but anyway, you can give an explanation that under what conditions you can neglect this drag force on the rocket as compared to the weight of the rocket. Now the mass of the rocket, which is there, just referring to the previous class example of the water coming out of the tank, similar, you can do the mass balance, but in a very simple, intuitive way also you can say that the instantaneous mass of the rocket, mass of the whatever are the contents of the rocket, that is the solid mass and the fuel, is the initial mass minus the mass that has left over the period of time. That is the instantaneous mass. So if you do that, the differential equation will be minus m0 minus m dot e into t into say g minus m0 minus m dot e t into dvr dt is minus m dot ev. So this is a differential equation that governs the velocity of the rocket as a function of time. It is a straightforward ordinary differential equation to integrate with an understanding that to begin with the rocket has zero velocity, the products of combustion are coming out and the rocket is moving up in the sky because of the upthrust created. So that physics remains, and this is a mathematical law governing that physics. So you will get this answer, the final answer I can write, which is there with me. This is VE ln of m0 divided by m0 minus m dot et minus gt. So you can make a plot of this as a function of time and see that in the limit, as almost all the mass within the rocket has come out in the form of the products of combustion that have escaped. That is, this is very small. What is the limiting value of the velocity of the rocket? That you can calculate. Okay. Now we will move on to the next item in this chapter, which is angular momentum conservation. So far we have talked about linear momentum. So let us consider the angular momentum conservation. So for the angular momentum conservation, we will write the two expressions, one for the inertial and another for the non-inertial. So angular momentum conservation. So in the angular momentum conservation, the Reynolds transport theorem that we apply, this dn dt of the system is equal to the partial derivative of this plus the volume and the surface integral terms. So remember, this capital N is nothing but the total property. So we can write that for angular momentum, the expression for N is basically R. So if it were just a single particle, it is R cross mv. Again, in junior school, we call it MVR. That is all right in a scalar form, but in a vector form, angular momentum is best understood as moment of linear momentum. So moment is R cross the vector and linear momentum is mv. So r cross mv. Now, when we say r cross mv, we are imagining a single particle with a mass m, but here it's a fluid system where every individual mass element may have a velocity v. So you can imagine this is better as r cross dmv integrated over the entire mass. Okay. So small n is nothing but this expressed per unit mass. So this is r cross v. Okay. So now for the inertial reference frame, it is very straightforward. So you replace the left hand side with the rate of change of angular moment. So the rate of change of angular momentum of the system is nothing but the resultant of the moment that is acting on the system, which is due to the moment of the forces plus the torque that is there on the system. So this is the angular motion equivalent to Newton's second law. That is the rate of change of angular momentum of a system is the resultant moment, which is the force moment plus couple moment, torque, whatever you call. So this is the resultant this moment, and because the Reynolds transport theorem is derived for a limiting condition when the system tends to control volume in the limit tends to 0. So this is the resultant force on the control volume. So that is the left hand side moment on the control volume. So this is the left hand side, and the right hand side is the very straightforward. You substitute small n with r cross v. Now the next question is, how do you write it for accelerating control volume? So the accelerating control volume will have a correction term. What is that correction term? So you will have the left hand side minus integral of. So we will write the correction term exactly by drawing analogy with what we wrote for the linear momentum. For the linear momentum, it was this one. So angular momentum, you can imagine as an expression where the linear momentum thing is appended with a r cross. Right? So this r cross, so in place of v it is r cross v. So in place of a relative it is r cross a relative. Okay. So that is the only difference, and the expression for a relative is the same, because it is just a kinematic expression, the velocity, acceleration, etc. relative to a control volume or an accelerating reference frame. So this adjustment of a relative with r cross a relative is good enough to make the equation mimicking the situation of angular momentum conservation. And what about the right hand side? You have to keep in mind that this when it is an accelerating or a general moving control volume, so your n will be this one, r cross. Now this v is v relative, not the absolute v. Okay. So this makes the standard Reynolds transport theorem adaptive to even a very complicated scenario where you have the angular motion of a control volume which is arbitrarily accelerating. One of the most difficult scenarios that one may consider in terms of control volume analysis in mechanics. So we'll illustrate this angular momentum issue with an example, a problem that is well described in all the books of fluid mechanics. This is a problem. If this chapter is there, that problem will be there. But this is such a dreaded problem that even though it is there, teachers will always avoid discussing about this problem, because this is a problem which you have to solve or you have to address very meticulously. So the problem is about a lawn sprinkler. So I'm trying to make a sketch of the situation, but if I tell you what it is, all of you will be able to relate it with your daily life experience. So this is what we say as a lawn sprinkler. So what is a lawn sprinkler? If you have seen a well-maintained garden, on the grass of the garden, or maybe the general the flowers or whatever, I mean primarily the grass, and also sometimes on the agriculture field, the way of sprinkling water on the ground is to use this kind of a rotating arm. So this is something which is rotating. Let me show with a different color. So it is rotating about say a pivot like this, and it is rotating in a say horizontal plane. It is not in a vertical plane, it is rotating in a horizontal plane. And once it is rotating, the water which is supplied to it, that water moves radially outwards and goes out of the arms of the sprinkler. A sprinkler may have multiple arms, but I'm just considering one arm because you can just multiply the effect to the number of arms that is there, and therefore one arm is good enough for our analysis. So when the water comes out, it has a linear momentum, and there is a moment of that linear momentum with respect to this axis of the sprinkler. So the moment of the linear momentum is angular momentum, and this angular momentum flux creates a torque, just like linear momentum flux creates an upthrust on a rocket. This is an angular momentum flux which is giving rise to a rotational motion, torque, and that creates the angular motion of the sprinkler. So it is like a sort of a spontaneous rotation because of this flux of angular momentum, and that makes the angular velocity dynamically vary. So angular velocity of this as a function of time. So you have to find out what is this. So this is the physical problem that I have explained. Now we will solve this problem using two different approaches. The first approach is a fixed control volume approach. Okay, so this is the first approach that we talk about. So fixed control volume approach means let us set up say a control volume. Again, I mean, when we draw, it is very difficult to explain whether it is fixed or moving. But now in this case, we have to imagine it is fixed. I have just taken the half because the remaining half with respect to the angular momentum is very symmetrical. For example, if the water is coming out in this direction, the thrust will try to rotate. Uh, you know, uh, the angular momentum, the direction r cross mv will be this arrow, and this will also be similar. So that counterclockwise sense of the angular momentum flux. So when you have the fixed control volume, you have to imagine that it is this one is fixed and instantaneously coincident with the arm, but the arm will be keeping on moving, but this rectangle will not move. That is what we call as fixed control volume. What is given also, this is a free rotation of the sprinkler. Free rotation of the sprinkler. So free rotation of the sprinkler, it means that there is absolutely no frictional torque at the pivot here, and that is enabling a free rotation. So once you have this this free rotation of the sprinkler, you can well imagine that the resultant the moment of this whatever the force, torque, etc. So first of all, there is no force which is applied externally to this system, not that somebody pulling it physically with hand or any mechanism or machine. And free rotation means there is no frictional torque. So although we write this resultant this moment, in the next step we'll write it as 0. So we'll write this one, the control volume term. So what will be this? Rho r cross v dv. Remember, the small n is r cross v. Just to go ahead with the problem, we'll assume that there is symmetric volume flow rate. So this is q by 2, and this is q by 2. Total volume flow rate q, which is meter cube per second, is distributed half on one side of the arm and half on the other side. Also, let us assume that this radius of the arm is capital R. Density is rho, and what else will require? Let us say this area at which the fluid is coming out. Let us say this is area equal to A. So density rho, volume flow rate q by 2, area A, and radius of the arm capital R. This is given, and in terms of the coordinate system, only one coordinate variable is good enough. That is the radial coordinate small r. That is with you can do all the calculations. And just to set up the directions, let us say this is the x-axis. Perhaps we can call this as y-axis, and perpendicular to the plane of this figure, we can put up the z-axis. So this is 0, as we have just mentioned. Now, what is this? So let us write this one separately. So what is R? So this is dV. Where is this dV? Let us assume that this dV is somewhere this here. So dV we can imagine this as A into dr. A is the cross sectional area of this arm, and dr is this differential length. So this is dr. So small r as a vector, we can write r into I, unit vector along x, and capital V. So let us put some different brackets because different terms will come up here. So Ri cross now what is this V? So this V is the absolute velocity of the fluid. This you have to this is something which is the conceptual thing that you have to keep in mind. Why this is this is the absolute velocity of the fluid? This is because you are having a fixed control volume approach. So if you are having this as the absolute velocity of the fluid, so this is nothing but the velocity of the fluid relative to the sprinkler plus the velocity of the sprinkler because of its angular motion. So you have to imagine it in this way, that if there is a coincident point at that radial location, that point even if there is no relative velocity, the fluid at that point will have a velocity because of the rotation, because of the rotation of the this rotating arm, and that is nothing but omega cross r. So this is just like V equal to omega r. So let us write it more formally. So omega is the angular velocity in the plane, xy plane. So the angular velocity vector has a sense in the z direction cross this r. This is the velocity of this point, and had there been no relative movement of the water, but the water is also moving relatively, and it is moving at least along the major part of the arm along the x direction. So another thing which is mentioned as a part of the problem statement is that this is small length. That means the the bent part of the arm is very small in length as compared to the capital R radius. So if we put up a dimension, so just for clarity I am showing that length here. So let that length be A, small a. So the small a is much less than capital R. So the only objective of the part small a is not to feature in the geometrical calculations, but just to deflect the direction of water in a direction which is perpendicular to the arm. That is what it does. But because that part is small, the major part of the control volume is the horizontal arm, and that is why this it is shown with a relative velocity along the x direction. Otherwise, the relative velocity along the y component, at least for the bent part, will also come. And dv is AdR. So so this is the control volume. So let us write it properly. If you just do it systematically, there is no problem with it, but somehow this creates a lot of issue with the student simply because people do not write these terms meticulously, nothing more than that. So omega cross r is this k cross I, that is j. So omega r j plus v relative I into AdR. Right. So you can clearly see that this term doesn't matter. Why this term doesn't matter is because it's I cross I, so it doesn't create anything except a null vector. So you are left with this one, rho omega, then this r into this r square into a dr, and I cross j is k. So this is integrated from you can say from 0 to r, capital R. So if you integrate this, let us write the final expression of the integral, and then we will erase this. So this will be integral of rho a omega and r square dr. So that is just capital R cube by 3. So we'll erase the integral and simply write it just as it is. So rho omega a r cube by 3. That is the final manifestation of this term. So we'll keep this in mind so that when we unite it with the other term, that is the second term or the area integral term, we will use this. So let me erase this part, except the final expression of term 1 that I just keep it here separately. Now we look into the term 2. So this one. So this is equal to, again let us write it meticulously, rho. Now you have to imagine that you are applying this term on the control surface. What is the control surface? The control surface is the outflux surface. The influx, whatever it is, it is on the axis of the this sprinkler. So that is not creating any moment. So we should not care for that. Only the outflux. So for the outflux, the small r is capital R. So in that way, capital Ri, you can sort of, for your convenience or conviction, you can say that, well, it is not just capital Ri, but you also the position vector at which the water comes out is located at capital R comma small a. So in terms of vector, capital Ri plus small aj. In terms of the velocity v, again this is omega k cross this one Ri plus aj plus the v relative. So what is the v relative? Now the v relative with respect to this control surface is along the y direction. Remember, for this control volume term, it was along the x direction, but for the surface flux, that is the y direction, and that is why actually the bend has been physically put into the design. We will see that because of this y component only, you have this what we call as moment of linear momentum with respect to the control surface. So this one, and instead of doing this integral, this the integral of the relative velocity into area, we can imagine that is nothing but the volume flow rate, which in this case is simply q by 2. So the integral is replaced by the effect of the integral, that is the volume flow. So now we will just do the cross product very meticulously. So rho Ri plus Aj, and we will do the cross this omega k cross Ri, that is omega Rj, plus omega k cross Aj, that is minus omega Ai. Okay. So k cross Ij and k cross j minus I. That is what written here. Plus Vrj into q by 2. So let us simplify this. So you have what we write is rho. This becomes what? So Ri. So Ri cross this one omega R. So omega R square. I cross j is k. So let us, yeah, hopefully we have written it correctly. This is fine. So this is basically R cross V. So, and the remaining terms, so we have taken this with this, then I cross I will not be there, J cross J will not be there, and this will be minus omega. So J cross I, so plus it will be omega A square. J cross I is this term also becomes k, and the relative velocity term. Relative velocity, only this I cross j will be there, plus Vri k, that into q by 2. Okay. So out of that we can clearly neglect one of the terms, and that is the implication of the small length a, so that this you neglect. So that means that we are left with a term this first, the second term, which is nothing but rho. So let me write here rho omega r square plus this Vr into r, this into q by 2 into k, and this is this one k. So sum total of this is this null vector, and that means that now we have arrived at the differential equation which governs the angular velocity of the sprinkler as a function of time. So if you recall or if you just reorganize these terms, out of everything only omega is a function of time. So rho a r cube by 3 d omega dt, simply d omega dt, plus rho omega r square, sorry, plus Vr into R, this into Q by 2. And you have to remember that what is Vr? Vr is nothing but Q by 2 divided by the area. So if you know the volume flow rate, you just simply divide it by the area, you will get the relative velocity. So this is a differential equation which is of the form d omega dt plus something into omega is equal to something. So you can integrate it with an integrating factor of so let us say let us call this as P and Q. So integrating factor equal to e to the power integral Q dt to obtain omega as a function. So this is actually the solution of the problem, but we have to imagine that this problem also could be solved by a moving control volume approach. And it is of great interest to see whether that approach and this approach will actually converge to the same thing, and ideally it should, because doesn't matter whether you are taking a whatever control volume, the angular velocity of the sprinkler as a function of time is a physically measurable outcome which should not change based on what you consider as a control volume for your analysis. So with that spirit, let us consider method number 2, which is this moving control volume. So moving control volume, the drawing is the same, but we have to keep in mind that what it means is that this sort of dotted thing which is coincident with the arm is also moving with the arm. It is not fixed. So when you have this moving control volume, you are having to deal with the correction term in the left hand side, that is number 1, and all relative velocities are expressed as all the velocities are expressed as relative velocities with respect to that control volume. That is the major difference. So in that spirit, I will write this rho. Now this is r cross Vr, right? Relative velocity, not absolute velocity, because it's a rotating control volume. So this is very, very important. Plus integral of rho r cross this Vr, and then this. So now you don't have to measure the absolute velocity of the fluid, you just have to write it relative to the control volume, but that has to be compensated by this correction. So this is 0. Now let us put up the okay, let us first write the relative acceleration. So what is that relative acceleration? This is acceleration of the control volume plus r double dot plus all these angular terms. Now these angular terms will be important. So I wanted to illustrate these terms, and that is why actually I have come into this problem. So at least we should solve one problem where this impact of this term is there. So acceleration of the control volume is not there. It is a null vector because there is no linear acceleration. It is only angular motion. R double dot is the velocity of the fluid relative to the control volume. So this acceleration of the fluid relative to the control volume, and this is basically R double dot I. Okay, along the x direction, at least at this instant. This is omega k cross omega k cross Ri. I'm just writing all the terms vectorially. Plus omega dot k. Omega dot is the angular acceleration cross Ri. Plus, let us write the Coriolis term also. Plus 2 omega k cross Bri. Okay. So once we do this, now just we'll straight away write this R double dot I plus omega square R. K cross I is J, K cross J is minus I. So this is minus omega square R I. Let us write it. So minus omega square Ri. Then plus omega dot R J and plus 2 omega Vrj. Now we have to remember that we are actually having to make a cross product of this with this R, which is Ri. So clearly, when you are making a cross product, first of all, this term is not there because I cross I is a null vector.
Sir,
this is also, yes.
Second term is minus omega square R J.
Second term. You see, this is K cross I is J, and then K cross that J is minus I.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So this term will also not be there. So only these two terms will be there. So now if you include those two terms with R cross dm, so let me just clean up some space where we will put up this term, because this is a very important term, that is the correction term because of the acceleration of the control volume. So this will simply be minus as it is, that minus outside. Then integral of, so I cross this I cross with these j's, so it will be k. So so it will be omega square r square. Again that so this has a minus thing, so a minus of this one. Oh sorry, this term was 0, mistakenly. So this is not there. So this is not there. So let us just for clarity, let us cross this. So this one. So I cross j is k. So omega dot r I cross j is k. So we'll write it separately. Plus plus means in the bracket plus 2 omega vr. I cross j is again k. And you have to keep in mind that this is multiplied with another r. So this becomes r square and this becomes r. That another r is here. And it is dm is a into dr. Right? And the integration is from 0 to r and the vector k. Okay? So that is the left hand side. Right hand side. So let me just clean it because we have written this term fully. So the right hand side, the straightforward, the first thing is you will not have this term, the first term. Why? So you have r as ri, and the relative velocity as VRI, because it's predominantly along the x direction. So this cross product of I cross I will not be there. So it will not create any angular momentum. So this will be equal to okay, rho is here, so I have mistaken. So here also the rho is here. R, now this is the control surface. Control surface is Ri plus small aj cross Vrj, and this whatever this dA term. So this will be very similar to the previous one. So rho q by 2 into now I cross j is k. So R into Vr k. So now you are having a differential equation. I mean, you can set up the differential equation by noting that when you integrate this, so you will get one of these terms. Just see it. This is r square dr. So this, when integrated, will be r cube by 3. So that will be the corresponding r cube by 3 term that you have got from the fixed control volume analysis. So in the fixed control volume analysis, you have 3 terms. One will be that term, another this one, and the remaining is this term with omega. So this is the coefficient of omega term. This is the coefficient of omega dot term, and this is the third constant. So it is just like again d omega dt plus p into omega plus q, and exactly the same equation as that of the fixed control volume analysis. So summarily, it's the same equation. Either fixed or moving control volume, doesn't matter. You come up with the same differential equation of omega as a function of time, and you can solve it by the same integrating factor to get the angular velocity of the sprinkler as a function of time. So let us stop here today. Now just to let you know, so I'm not teaching the class on Monday. So Monday I'm not teaching this Monday. No. So next class is Tuesday, and we will start with a new chapter, which is the dynamics of viscous flows. That is, so far we have not considered the viscous effects. So we'll start with a new chapter, dynamics of viscous flows, on the coming week, Tuesday. So thank you very much, and we close the class here today.